All right. Well, Arnell, thank you, man, again for taking time out of your day to talk with me and share some of your experience. If you wouldn't mind, let's kind of start. How did you give us some of your backstory? How did you find out about overages and what kind of led you to get involved in the business?
Yeah, sure. Arnell Carmichael, been in real estate since 2014. Probably like most of us started off wholesaling, and that's a hustle.
Yeah.
I actually heard about overages back while I was wholesaling in 2014 by way of Bob Diamond.
Yeah.
So I seen all the commercials and all the YouTube stuff, and I was like, man, that seems really good, but it seems too good to be true.
Mm.
So I turned my head back to wholesaling, man, and ended up doing, a couple of deals in wholesaling. And then we looked into some other areas of real estate. And fast forward, I did about 6 or 7 other business models. And last year, I came back, something drew me back to overages and tax sale deeds. And I seen, the first person I seen was Spencer Van. So I looked at a lot of his stuff. And as I kept looking on the internet, came across your stuff. And I was like, wow, okay. I was like, this dude seems pretty genuine. Let me check some more out, seeing that you had the military history. And that's what drew me in more, man. As you shared your story, I could identify with a lot of different things, man. And I said, you know what? I was doing another business model at the time. And one of your videos said, hey, you need to basically commit to one process and shut out everything else and just focus on overages. You said, give it a year of just commitment. And that's what I did, man. I closed my other business and I jumped, full-fledged into this last September.
Okay. So is that September 21 then?
September 21, yes, sir.
Okay. And what's kind of been the result of that since you made that pivot and, just said, I'm going to go all in on overages? What's transpired since then? Because we're in May now, so it hasn't even been a year. So.
Right. Yeah. So we've closed 2 deals already. Closed right up under 100. Recovered 100K. We got 2 more deals getting ready to pay out, and man, it's been an excellent experience, really, man. It's being on this side of the fence because like I said, I've been in so many different business models. I've been that guy not succeeding, and really what changed it for me, and I don't know if this will help somebody, is I had to identify my biggest distraction and I had to get rid of it. So I listened to Eric Thomas, and he says, what are you willing to give up to go up? And we got to identify that one distraction and kind of get it out of your life for a while. And that's what really helped me get to the point where I'm at now, along with, your program, obviously, and just doing the day-to-day stuff that we need to do.
Man, that's a golden nugget right there. I mean, you don't have to share if you don't feel comfortable, but, if you do, what was that distraction for you?
Sure, man. For me, it had been alcohol, man. And I'll just be real, because it may help somebody. And it's not like I was, drinking to the point where I wasn't doing what I needed to be doing. I just wasn't as focused and I wasn't as sharp. And something in my spirit kept saying, it was more of like a moral thing when I drank. I was like, man, I'm not supposed to be doing this because I got something bigger for me, but this is what's holding me back right now. So it's been about 8 months since I drank, man, almost 9 months. Like when I started overages, I stopped drinking and I started instantly noticing the difference with my focus and my intention and all that stuff.
Wow. That's awesome, man. Appreciate you sharing that. That's such a good, a good lesson too for everyone, not just in business, but in life. I think we've all got something. We've all got some sort of distraction. We've all got something that kind of holds us back from reaching that higher level or performing at a higher level. And I think, you said it best, there's something inside of you, whether it's your conscience or you said your spirit or your soul or whatever, there's something telling you, in the back of your mind, what that is that you need to give up. And so I think that's, man, it's a really good lesson that people should pay attention to and ask themselves, what is your thing? What is that thing holding you back? So thank you for sharing that. It reminds me of another one of my students. It's crazy, man. He started doing overages and he actually quit smoking for, I don't know why. He just said, I quit smoking, man, because I'm too busy or whatever. I don't know. It's crazy. So, but we've all got that thing. So appreciate you sharing that.
Absolutely.
Right on, man. As far as like your experience thus far, what's kind of been some of the good, the bad, the ugly? What's been your favorite part of the business, your least favorite part? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, sure, man. I think for me, when I start a business, the earlier I get momentum, the better off I perform. And so, my ideology was, I've been at a lot of different businesses, network marketing, I've done wholesaling. This should be a piece of cake. So I came in with, I understand it's going to be hard, but I should have me a deal in 30 days. And I did, but, something happened. So I'm glad I had that adversity up front. So, I had all the paperwork signed with the client. I think the day of the sale, this is when I was telling you back about in the coaching call, the house mysteriously burnt down. And
The day of the sale?
yeah, so the day of the sale, I think it might have been afterwards. They found out, some stuff happened, and that deal, either which way it goes, that deal ended up falling through. Yeah. And I had did the best I could, and I figured I was going to have some early success and momentum. But what that taught me was to just manage my expectations. And then so you're going to have different types of clients, different cases, right? So you may have some that are easier than others, and you may have some that may require a lot more attention. So just seeing that up front, man, that helped manage my expectations and didn't put a stale taste in my mouth. So, 8 months later, I have one case that paid out in 34 days. So, I'm tracking all that stuff in my CRM. So 34 days was pretty quick. Another one that took 101 days, man. So you have two different extremes. One where, you got everybody signed up and it just went through the floor. The deal broke and went through the floor. But then I have a deal where I hadn't talked to the gentleman once. It's been all text and email. He doesn't want to talk, which is cool. Yeah. And that paid out in 30 days. So you just got to be willing to deal with the highs and lows of business.
Yeah. That's some great advice there too. And that's 34 days. I've never had one pay out that fast. So that might be a record I've heard of actually. So that's super quick. But then you mentioned you got the other one, 120 days, and that's more on average in my, 90 to 120 days, 3 to 4 months. And then I'm sure you'll get one here soon or whenever. It may take 6 months or whatever. So, but that's great advice. Like it's, expect to have some losses, I guess. And it doesn't, not necessarily, I mean, that deal, it probably wasn't a financial loss for you, I'm sure, but there was some time lost, right?
Absolutely.
And that just comes with the game. So I appreciate you sharing that as well, because that is the reality. You're going to have some wins and you are going to have some losses too. Maybe not a loss financially, loss of time or a deal falls apart. It's just part of the game. So really good advice there.
Right.
Awesome, man. Is there any particular case that stands out, or any, wild story, or any, kind of a cool moment where, you had with a client after you got them their check, or any kind of stories that stick out in your mind that you would want to share?
Sure, man. Yeah. So we had a case, we just got paid out this week. It was about $76,375. Obviously she had to pay about almost 15 grand to a judgment to the credit union. So after that, it was about, 58,000 or so. Yeah. And then, she had been real patient. She lost her home and she's actually staying in the RV park right now, and she's got a kid. Oh, so wow. Yeah, so just thinking about all of that, man, I really wanted to get this deal done for her. She signed everything she needed to. So we ended up getting a check, like I said, I think Wednesday. She actually works at a daycare we used to take our kids to about 3 or 4 years ago. So I met her yesterday, man, and she ended up getting a $43,123.65 check. Wow. And she was just like, this is really going to help out and give her a new start, man. And just that feeling that you get, because we initially started this business for money. I'm not going to kid myself and say I don't, but it's got to come to a point where you separate your wants and needs from that of the client, the real reason why you should be doing this. And I think when you can do that and differentiate that, that's when you see that shift. and your activity. And that's when you start attracting different things, man. You start attracting that momentum as long as you keep doing the same, the day-to-day things you need to. But it was really just gratifying, passing her that check, man. Ours was good, but giving that money away, like that's addictive. So I want more of that feeling, not necessarily the check for my company, but I want that feeling, for her and other people. And she texted me and said, wow, you changed our lives, and anybody in the same situation, I'm gonna refer them to you. You were a professional the whole time. And she's just real appreciative, man. And I thought that was great. That was priceless.
Yeah, 100%, man. That's, I love stories like that. And it's definitely a byproduct of the business, is you do get to help someone. You do get to change their lives in a meaningful and impactful way. And, it's not just about the money, it's about what the money can do for them. For her, it's a fresh start. She gets to start new. And that's definitely a blessing. But and it's okay too. Like I love how you say you got into business for the money, right? Nothing wrong with that. I think that's why we all get into business, right? We want to better our financial situation. But then I've also learned the same lesson that, success in your business comes from helping others get what they want, or helping them solve a problem, or providing a service to them. Absolutely. And there's a lot of byproducts of the business, not just financially, but, helping those people. So I love that you mentioned that.
Absolutely.
And the, the motivation changes. It's no longer financial. It's more about helping people. But the nice thing about that is the more people you help, the more your financial situation improves. So it's a win-win,
Yeah. And I was going to say too, man, on the other side of that extreme. So I'm still working with this guy that I've been dealing with for about 4 months. He was in Colombia. So I called him up. He's like, yeah. He's like, what's going on? And I gave him my pitch, and he said, yeah, man, I'll contact you back. I'm out here with about 400 kilos. I got to get out of my car that I'm trying to sell. And he's like, I'm just joking, man. So, you get different personalities, man. And I think being in the overages business, it gives you a view into different people's situations, lives, man. Even sometimes your mortality. When you see a lot of these cases, these probate and heir cases, you see some people die young. Yeah. And it really, looking at this business, man, puts you in a state of gratitude, because you see what you have versus what a lot of other people lost. So, I'm getting a lot of different life lessons outside of just the business, man, by dealing with these cases.
Yeah. Any particular lessons that stick out to you?
For me, again, man, just wake up and go to sleep in gratitude. But another, man, that I've kind of been embodying is mastery before money. Become a professional at what you do, so you can provide a better service, man. And everything that we see in the physical is just a byproduct of our mind and what we think and what we attract, man. So if you can train yourself to become a master at all things spiritual, I believe in God. So, all things physical, emotional, once you're able to master those, you'll start attracting, man, everything that you want externally, man. It'll just be a byproduct of what you think. And that's the biggest lesson that I've learned, man, just to master what it is that you're doing, man, and just stay in gratitude.
Yeah. Become an expert. I want to highlight that really fast, because that's super important what you just said. Because I remember coming up, in my journey, a lot of my coaches and mentors, they would say 90% of this is mental, 10% of it's tactical. And in the back of my mind, I'd be like, no, that's BS, man. It's about what you do, not about what you think. But as I've come through the journey, I've learned that they were 100% right. Absolutely. Most folks don't succeed or don't get the result they want, not because they don't know what to do. It's because of the stories that they tell themselves. And those stories drive their actions or their inaction. And so if you've got a story in your mind, like here's a common one with overages. I hear it all the time. Why would somebody hire someone like me when they could just do it themselves? I hear that story all the time. And it's a valid question, but it doesn't serve you.
Right.
And does it matter? All that really matters is that you present the offer, you present the service, and then you let the client make a decision.
Absolutely.
But because of that story, many people don't even make the offer and they don't do anything. So, you know, you were 100% right. And you got to work on your mindset and your beliefs and your stories. And then those will drive your actions. And then your actions increase your skill level and so on and so forth. So super powerful, man. Super powerful.
Now, you know, just one last thing on that, man. That's great. And I see you got a lot of books back there, so I know you're a reader, man. But Atomic Habits. If any of the guys or ladies that hadn't read this book, it's very relevant to a lot of things in business. And the reason I say that is what sticks out for me in particular is chapter 2, where he talks about changing the paradigm and then just the process of creating a new identity. So I think it's Ed Milet too. He was saying that every vote that every decision that you make is a cast for the person that you want to be, is a candidate for who you want to be for that day. You know, so you got the old paradigm and the new paradigm constant clashing. But back to the book, you know, it was saying that there's a process to changing and getting outcomes. So you got identity, process, outcome, and then you got outcome, process, and identity. And I think a lot of times for me, I can only speak for myself, everything was always outcome driven. You know, in the next 90 days, if I go to the gym, I'll lose 20 pounds, instead of saying, hey, I'm a person, my identity is that of one who works out like an athlete. So once you change that identity, then the process and outcome will shortly follow. But you got to change who you are as a person versus just those small metrics that you want to track.
Yep. Amen, brother. Yep. Anybody get this book. If you're not a reader, listen to it on Audible. I haven't read it. I've listened to it on Audible. And I was like, after I listened to it, I was like, I need that book. I need to go through it, because I'm a person that likes to go through, write stuff in the sidebar and, you know, take notes and highlight. So super good book. Everybody, that's a must read for pretty much everyone. That should be required reading in high school.
Man, I agree 100%.
So awesome recommendation there. I love it. Love it, man. Oh man, such good stuff. And you mentioned Ed Milet as well. That's someone that I also listen to quite often. And if you're not following Ed Milet, you should definitely do so. So
absolutely.
Awesome, man. Any other I guess, I mean, you've given so much advice and words of wisdom already, but is there anything else that you would recommend to someone who maybe is considering getting in the business, whether it's overages or just business in general? Because you have a unique perspective, because you've got a bunch of different businesses you've done wholesaling, you've done overages. What other businesses have you been involved in, if you don't mind sharing?
Yeah, no problem. I did the Simplest Biz, the pallet business. I've done a social vending machine with some of the same folks. I worked for Pure. It was a network marketing company. A couple of other ones, man, I probably can't think of off the top of my head, but the common thread is this, man. Those businesses, those business processes, and those industries work.
Yeah,
because there's people winning in them. So you really have to take some self-accountability and just a little bit of introspection and say, hey, what am I doing that's not working to make these businesses work? And if you're on the fence, what I would say is find somebody that's a practitioner. And, you know, I'm not downing anybody. There's some master marketers out here that can sell you a good product. Find somebody that resonates with you. Because like I said, I looked at a lot of different people in overages and wholesaling. You have to find somebody that resonates with your spirit, man, and with your values and your morals, and then go from there. You know, all the hype and stuff, I'd kind of look through that, man, and find somebody that's actually getting checks in that industry. You know what I mean? And do a little background check on them, man. But for me, like I said, I looked at a lot of different people. And those, a lot of those guys are making money and they're good, but you just resonated with me, man, because of your story, how transparent you were, and really, man, how you give back to the people. I know some people in programs that try to upcharge you when they update information, or they want you to buy another tier. I've seen that you put multiple new additions and modules and calls in there without charging people, man. So for me, that tells me, through your actions, not what you're saying out of your mouth, that tells me that you want to help other people win and help their families win, man. So I'd say look for a practitioner, man, and really identify what that person, their intentions and motives are if you can. And I just have I guess I can tell people's spirit. I think that's one of the gifts I've been given, man. I can kind of feel if people are pretty good or not. And that's what drew me to you, man. And the program's phenomenal. So
awesome, brother. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. That's
absolutely
great advice. Awesome, brother. Anything else you want to leave with the people? I don't know what other questions to ask. You've just given so much already in the short amount of time.
I don't want to be long. My wife says I talk too much, but man, just know you're good enough, believe in yourself. And before you go pass out any dollars, before you go buy any course, you commit in here. So you know what, and that's why I keep hearing from that video that you sent me, man. Commit to the process before you take any action, and know that come hell or high water, excuse my language, that I'm going to stick with it and know that it'll work for you too. And it may be 6 months. So that's when I started seeing the progress, the 6th and 7th month. I'm like, man, I should have did this way before, but you got to understand that you're running your own race and not to compare yourself with your journey with other people's results. You know what I mean? So just run your race, surround yourself around good people, man, and just do the right thing and you'll be good in life.
I love it, man. I love it. I love that. The same, run your own race. That's because I think that answers the question that I also get a lot is people do ask, like, if I go through the program and I do all the work, how soon will I get a deal, or how soon will I see a result? And the bottom line is I don't know. I honestly don't know. There's so many factors to go into it. There's, how quickly you implement and how quickly, like it's dependent on the deal too. There's factors that you just can't control. You could get a deal in 3 to 4 months, or you may be 6, 7 months in before you even see a check. It's all across the board. And that's why I tell people, commit to it for at least a year. Yeah. Bare minimum 6 months. I don't think if someone doesn't commit to it for at least 6 months, I don't think that's even enough time for them to see a tangible result. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that, Arnell?
No, I agree, man, because you got to build up so much momentum. Like, this business is easy. It's simple, but it's not easy. And everybody hears that, but it is a lot of moving parts. And if you're not organized, you don't have a CRM, you don't have processes, you can get discouraged, man. So even with having all that, it still took me 6 months. You know what I mean? And you're just forcing that momentum. So you're building that momentum up. And like you said, everything you do 6 months prior, it'll start coming to fruition, in the next month or 2 or 3 months, man. And that's true. And you got to keep doing those things that got you there. So yeah, I agree with that wholeheartedly, man. That's 100% correct for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess the business requires a lot of patience and faith is one way to put it. You got to have faith that in what you're doing today is going to bring forth fruit a month, 2, 3, 4 months from now.
Yes, sir.
That's really hard. That's really hard because we live in a society where it's, instantaneous results, right? I can get on Amazon, order something, have it here tomorrow. I could go DoorDash and get food in 5 minutes. Don't even have to leave my house.
Right.
This business is not instantaneous. It's a long, drawn out process comparatively. I mean, 4 months isn't a long time, but if you compare it to what we're used to, that's an eternity for a lot of us. Yep. So awesome, brother. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you jumping on. You've given so much value. So thank you. And, guys, if you got any questions, feel free to post them down below. And again, thank you, Arnell, for taking time out of your Saturday to share all your golden nuggets. Appreciate you, man.
I appreciate you having me on, man. It's been a pleasure. And thank you for creating that program.
You bet. I do what I can.